Hi everyone. So I already made a more detailed video of the instructions, but it was 7 minutes long. So I wanted to just make a quick run through of part two that might help people, especially if it's shorter. So I'm just going to run through the project really quick. I've chosen a non-SARS-CoV-2 protein. It's called CFD1. This is the protein I worked on in grad school. So part A just says search for any CoV-2 protein. Well, I got my protein up. Part B says, what is the name and the PDB code? So the name can be found down here. I mentioned in a longer instructional video, this is the name of the structure. I'm fine with that. The name of the protein itself is CFD1. Either or is fine. The PDB code can be found above, and this one is 6G2G, and each structure will have an individual code. It says what method was used to determine the protein structure. I can go down here, and then I can write down what method was used to get this structure, which is X-ray diffraction. NMR might be another common method you might see. Then it says take 3 screenshots in 3D viewer. So I go to my 3D viewer. Right. All I'm looking for is to get 3 unique angles on the structure you're looking at. It's so that you get a sense of what proteins look like rather than like that common idea of protein is just like a slab of meat, right? So I'm looking for 3 unique screenshots of 3 different angles. Then it asks if my protein has quaternary structure. The easy way to determine that is just by visually inspecting the structure. I see that I have 2 identical units. Usually they're represented in different colors. So in this case, CFD1 has a quaternary structure. So it has 2 subunits. Some proteins you look at will be individual units. They don't have quaternary structure. And so you just say there is no quaternary structure. Then it asks for how many beta sheets and alpha helices. You have 2 options. One is to rotate the structure and count them out visually, which is my original intent, so people could get more in-depth view of the protein. Another way to go about this, to just learn different methods, we go to sequence. And that's what I was hoping some students, to play around a little bit on this website. So, you think sequence, look for sequence. Well, if you look down here under the chain view, and so a chain is going to indicate one strand of amino acids. So it would mean 1 subunit. So I can go through, I take a look at my legend down here. We see that the yellow arrows are beta sheets. We're not going to distinguish between a 310 helix and an alpha helix. We're going to treat them the same for this exercise. And then don't worry about other small structure elements we haven't talked about. So we could go through and count up beta sheets, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we look down on the legends, that little brown arrow is called the beta bridge. We're not going to count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'd write down 11 beta sheets. If your protein has a quaternary structure, right, again, we're only looking at 1 subunit. So I don't want you to go crazy trying to find all the secondary structural elements, especially when they're just going to repeat. But I mean, all the structural elements for a quaternary structure. And then part G says to copy and paste the primary structure of the protein. So there's different ways you could do that. I mean, theoretically, you could just take a picture of this. That's fine. Another way, if we're in our sequence tab, there's a lot of things you can download. So a FASTA file, it's not self-evident what that is, but it actually is. It's going to give you a text document of the primary sequence, and it will be numbered. You can also go down here, view sequence and the image, or you can download the sequence chain image. So you have different options to try and answer that question. I mean, you could even go off the site and look up the protein and find other primary structures. All right, I think that answers everything. So hopefully this was a lot more of like the quick answer type thing to the questions. But if it's still giving you trouble, why don't you go take a look at the longer instructional video? It kind of goes a little bit deeper into things. All right, I hope that helped.